Everyone says they love Gawx's editing, but if you read the comments, a lot of people say it gives them a headache. Your brain doesn't get a chance to reset. If you've ever clicked off one of his videos feeling wired or drained, this explains it. Why this style works, why editors copy it, and why copying Gawx usually backfires.
So today I will customize an iPad Pro Max and then I will give it to my dad.
What he's doing right here is comment hacking. Every time his voice goes, "My name is Gawx," it makes you go, what the heck? But it makes you want to check the comments to see if you're crazy. As an editor, you shouldn't just focus on how pretty your edit looks. You need to think about the comments. For example, I was working with a client with 4 million subscribers. There was a scene in the edit where the client asked me to censor his address. But I had an idea. What if instead of just censoring his address, we put a fake credit card number? He got over 150 emails that day saying, "Oh my gosh, your bank details are in the video. Delete the video, take it down. You left the bank details, what are you doing?" Comment hacking.
Holy shit! This thing is expensive as fuck. Now, let's unbox it.
He's doing a lot of masking, a lot of whip transitions, which are cool, but only 1 or 2 of them actually had impact. It didn't actually help with audience retention and making the audience feel something. But this transition does make the audience feel something because it's not just cool, it's not just added for the sake of it, it moves the story forward. If he's gonna surprise his dad with an iPad, he has to get the iPad. That's a motivated transition. You've probably already figured out something feels off. This doesn't look like a modern Gawx video, and that's because it isn't. This video is from 5 years ago, which raises a much more interesting question than why does this edit feel exhausting? Why did this work so insanely well back then? And why did he slowly stop editing like this?
Back on Pippin, bitch, I'm back in kitchens with the tray. Windows tinted like how black my skin is. Scoop the shorty in it from a J.
Look at those shots again. What do you see? It's just a bunch of useless B-roll. We're getting shots of the iPad. This isn't an Apple commercial. What are we doing? You only need the shot of you grabbing it and opening it, and boom, let's get started. That's it. There's a delay to the payoff. Now on YouTube, you're supposed to delay that intentionally so they keep watching. But if you delay it too much at the beginning when you're building trust, you're cooked. Now, I've edited videos that have collectively pulled in over 1 billion views, and this is one of the clearest examples of pressure-based editing that people accidentally copy wrong.
I'm going to tape the parts I don't want to mess up using some sexy blue tape.
For the riches, nothing more to mention. I could light a block of how the horror.
Holy hell, boy! Oh, this is hard to follow. Buddy boy. I see what they were saying. This one guy made a comment. He was like, this is like watching 1,000 TikToks. There is so much motion going on that I have to force my eyes to the center of the screen just so I don't get dizzy. It's not even like, oh, this is the worst editing ever. It's just very fast. And it could be fixed so simply. Now you can also see the love and care that went into this. You could tell that every frame he really poured his heart into. A lot of good editors are putting in the work. They're just putting the ladder on the wrong house. By the way, if you're an editor and you're realizing you've been copying speed instead of pressure, I put together the 12 viral editing secrets showing the exact pressure patterns behind the biggest edits on YouTube. Not software tricks, not effects, just the psychology that keeps the audience locked in. The link's in the description and it's literally free.
Let's start with the realistic roses. I don't really know how to paint them, but let's do it.
Almost every song Gawx has used so far has lyrics. When you're talking and there's another voice talking underneath you, that increases cognitive load. And part of the reason why videos go viral is because they have low cognitive load. But the thing about it is, this music isn't introducing stakes. It's not introducing curiosity. It's simply background music. And it seems like Gawx slowly realized that using this type of music was leaning further away from his desire for artistic and creative videos. It was making him blend in with everybody else.
Guess what? This one smells even better.
Oh man. Oh my, bro, don't do it again. I'm getting like deep fried right now. Oh my gosh. All these shake transitions are murdering me right now. This isn't just unsustainable for mass audiences, but it's unsustainable for the editor, which in this case is Gawx. And you may think, how is it unsustainable? It got 9.6 million views. Well, you can get a bunch of eyeballs on your content, but that doesn't mean they're gonna stay forever. If you are making the audience feel a negative emotion for long enough, they're gonna go seek entertainment elsewhere. Gawx's editing discipline is so much more sophisticated now. He holds the shots for a longer time. He delays the music. He lets it go silent for longer. And the other thing is, so many of these shots are handheld. Whereas now, Gawx typically has a tripod or he has a moving setup where the camera's slowly rotating. And part of the reason he did that is because there were just so many gosh darn comments about viewers feeling dizzy. When everything's handheld, it feels real, it feels realistic, but it comes at a cost. It is so relieving that Gawx limited this style and moved on and evolved. He still does stuff like this from time to time, but the thing is, he uses it deliberately in isolated cases so that when he does the shaky cam, when he does the shaky editing cuts, it hits because it's not for the whole video. It's spread out at deliberate, precise moments. So instead of a mass transition every 3 seconds, he's gonna spend a whole day just getting this one transition to hit so well that you just have to replay it.
Sketch finished, so now I will transfer it to the iPad using the crazy graffiti technique.
Almost every single one of these shots in this video are close-ups. That is a problem. Because when everything is close up, you would think, oh, that means everything feels detailed and intimate and focused. But the problem is, if you don't have wide shots, you don't have a sense of scale or location. And if you don't have that, it makes it difficult to get immersed in the video. A few months ago, I was on Reddit reading a post by a BBC documentary editor, and he said he avoided this mistake with the simplest method you've ever heard. Whenever the story introduced a new idea, he started with a wide shot, then cut to a closer shot, then cut to an ultra close-up. And the reason for that is the human brain values spatial awareness. What you just saw wasn't a one-off trick. Everything you're seeing here is part of a bigger system I teach inside Elite Editor Academy. The psychology behind why edits hold attention, why most editors burn viewers out, and what makes an edit feel expensive instead of exhausting. If you want to understand this at a deeper level and apply it consistently, the link's in the description.
And I'm going to use a disgusting ballpoint pen. Ugh, ew.
Oh my gosh, it just hit me. It's not just the close-up shots. He was doing something in these videos that was gonna get views for sure, and it went viral. He proved it, but building a cult-like following would be so much harder for him because he's not showing his face. This is a problem I see with a lot of editors. They end up using so much B-roll that they fail to cut to the creator's face enough. We don't see the creator's face enough to build an attachment to them. Even if he couldn't show his face, just showing a human being, even if they're masked, is still better than never showing a human being. It really helps with audience connection, so more shots like this actually would have done very well for him.
It worked. Oh yeah!
I love this. Oh yeah! I love how this video seems like he's just having fun. And I think that is a part that can be lost when you try to get so focused on optimizing everything. There is a way to actually make things fun and not lose your soul while editing videos. But yeah, it's not like I have a freaking program for that or anything. Anywho.
Oh yeah!
That's how Gawx used to edit. Modern Gawx still uses the same pressure, but he releases it differently. Most editors copy the old speed. They miss the control he added later, and you can watch that video here.